Hello, and welcome to yet another edition of Warrior Supercast, the podcast specifically for the Wynwood School District, highlighting the superstars of the district. I'm very fortunate to have sitting next to me Ms. Terry Holden from the Wynwood School District, the ED of Teaching and Learning. Glad you can join me again.
Thank you, Jason.
As always, this month. This month we have someone very special, all of them here at the table. We've been discussing with the upper grades. This is our first chance to speak with the beginning grades. I won't say lower grades, I'll say the beginning grades. Obviously, they're going to be implementing project-based learning in a new light here coming soon. And what great things can we expect when it comes to the beginning grades?
So I think this is first of all, this will represent, next year, represent our district being fully immersed in project-based learning and new tech grades pre-K-12. So I think what we have to look forward to are different experiences for our younger students, where they really can start making connections between the different disciplines that they learn as they learn. So as they learn to read and as they learn to compute, they're able to make connections and really get deeper into that learning. And then I think, something that we're probably not going to see in 1 year or two, but certainly beyond that, we're going to start to see students who move from year to year with this strong knowledge base, so that as they move up through the system, by the time they are in high school, they're going to be pretty incredibly skilled and empowered young adults.
Definitely a new student, so to speak, than what we're used to speaking. To my left, I'm very fortunate to have Elizabeth Stiles, as well as Adrian Martin, and they're representing the preschool as well as grades 3 and 4. Yes. Glad that you could join us. And to my right, I have the K through 2 side of the group with Kevin Jones and Danielle Wallace. Let's talk about this new student. Obviously, you guys are the nurturers. We were talking earlier beforehand, we were talking about the seed planters, the early developers. How do you foresee next year beginning? This is a brand new start. Let's start with the preschool. What type of model and what are we looking at for the new year for you?
Oh boy. We're just looking at continuing what children naturally do. My preschoolers come to us, they come already naturally inquisitive. They just want to know about the world around them, and they just want to learn all sorts of new things. So we're looking into implementing some projects that may start off with, getting to know yourself, getting to know the world around you, and getting a little bit more structure to the projects that we already do.
And then following that up, going to the K2 side, you guys can kind of add. She starts the seed, you get to be the water, they get to see the growth here. Right. What are you seeing as, obviously I like the way you're saying, you know yourself, knowing where they are, coming to you, where do they grow from there?
I think to piggyback on what Mrs. Stiles talked about, just adapting to the level of curiosity that they'll have now that they'll be exposed to a different way of learning. So focusing in on developing projects with them, student as the owner of their learning versus the teacher of the keeper of all of the knowledge. This is an incredible opportunity for the teacher and the student to collaborate on the design of the instructional process. So we're very excited to see what the fruits of our labors will be in the next few years as they move through our district.
As we prepare for next year, our staff and plan projects, the projects are going to be standards-based, just as they would be at the upper grades. So we're still teaching the students and having them practice and develop those skills that they would at the earlier grades, but I think in a way that's going to be more engaging to them and allowing them to collaborate with one another and begin to develop their voice and the oral communication skills. As well as embedding the technology. So I think you're going to see a lot of the skill building that we have done traditionally at the primary grades, but now with an increased level of inquiry and an increased level of students gaining these real-world skills that they're going to need as the work world changes. And so we're going to start that at a young age for them, and it's going to build them up through the time they get to middle school and high school. They're going to have skills that I think many of us that have gone through a traditional model of education maybe never have had, even as adults. So I think we're going to see a really strong student with some of those skills that they need to be successful after K-12 education.
And then you get to be the coach that does the, as I would say, passing of the baton,
Yes.
the growth from beginning to going further.
Right.
Does that change your perception on how they learn or where they're going next?
Well, actually, it does. What we want our students to be are strong critical thinkers. We want them to be able to analyze and take apart a problem and be able to actually execute in whichever manner they can. It's not one way of learning. We want them to be able to think on the spot, be able to actually use that inductive reasoning and use their explorative side to be able to develop answers and solutions to various problems.
I think one of the things that we think about when we're changing, obviously, the curriculum, so we're the learning aspect of it, but obviously these are some children who are going to be a little more on the rambunctious side, want to be a little more active. Does that change your physical nature of the classroom and how you're going to go from a very sit-down type model to these projects that are going to make them far more mobile? I don't know, maybe the K through 2 can kind of give an idea on that.
Well, I think this is an excellent opportunity for us to capitalize as educators on students' a natural need for movement. And so I think next year, specifically, our staff needs to focus in on how do we cultivate a culture in our building where movement is expected and where children are encouraged to move and to have natural spaces in the classroom where they work versus we always sit at our table and we're always listening, but we're actively asking questions and being engaged. And maybe you will come to our building and see kids working in the hallways or other spaces, or even working in an outdoor classroom environment versus what would be a traditional school setting. So it's very exciting, but we know as principals that we have to prepare our staff for that level of movement because that will be out of their comfort zone. It's almost like the organized chaos that's exciting for kids, but a little nerve-wracking for adults.
Yeah. And what we're doing at ES, we're actually previewing some new tech PPL classrooms, and what the students were able to do was to develop a blueprint of how the classroom would be set up. So it's not like traditional where, the teacher actually sets the room up and sets the class in the manner in which it needs to be, but we gave the students some ownership and some voice and choice as to how to develop their culture within their classroom.
And what about the preschools? I mean, that's what you expect. You expect that run and that run and play. This is going to be a great merge, don't you believe?
I do believe. I think that the philosophies behind preschool and behind project-based learning and new tech are perfectly aligned. Preschool is already very much doing these things. Now we'll just have a little bit more structure to it and a little more focus in preparing the students for when they move into the age level or school age.
Jason, can I just add, thanks to the support of the community in the passage of the bond issue, now we have an opportunity really to start envisioning, given what we know about project-based learning and our work with new tech, now that it's going to be K-12, now we can start envisioning about, okay, what physical requirements do we have to really do the work with integrity to really support student learning at all grade levels. So that's exciting for us.
And that'll be a great movement, especially with the bond issue passing and the progression of the schools.
Correct.
You've got this kind of like a playground, so to speak, to be able to see how this works with what you have, the constraints you have now, to what you will eventually have later.
Correct.
Going forward, let's start, Ms. Martin, let me ask you this. Obviously, we're hearing about the inquisitive nature of all the students, and this is an open question, but I'm going to start with you.
Yes.
Obviously, they're very inquisitive now with the way that the previous model has gone to this new model. Do you feel that this is just going to open a brand new door for these students to engage themselves into learning and really put themselves in and put yourself in with them?
I do. I think that ultimately what our teachers are trying to do is to make sure that what they're presenting to the students are activities and lessons that are very engaging. So we want our students to be able to take that to the next level as well. So we definitely want them to be the facilitators of their learning to be able to actually execute and do various tasks independently. So they're going to be self-sufficient and definitely strong, independent learners once they get this model.
And going to the K through 2 group, how does this change your curriculum? Because obviously this is core learning here for them, understanding schedule, understanding all of this. How does this change your curriculum when it comes to introducing the new tech model?
So the Ohio learning standards are remaining the same. It really doesn't change the curriculum of what we're doing. It just is the platform from which we're delivering the curriculum. And so I think it's going to be a way that gives them a tangible, real-world way to apply the curriculum into a project that really matters. So there's not going to be a change regarding curriculum. But there will be gaining additional skills. Going above and beyond just learning the facts or the skills required to read and write and to do the math calculations. They're going to be getting these skills that can be applied at any area in college and career. So we're looking forward to that.
And you do bring up the basic point, that this is that core method. This is where they learn the reading, the writing. This is the base. As we said earlier, we're planting the seed till they get to the next level. Of course, Ms. Stiles, I do want to bring up that apparently I did see this on your little bio here, where a 5-star rating from the Ohio Step Up to Quality program. Now, that is a very important issue to be bringing up. Congratulations, of course. And what was involved in bringing that all together?
A lot of teamwork.
Which is what we're talking about now, as it is.
Right. It was a wonderful experience, lots of time. What we had to do was really take what we're doing right now, implement a few new things, and then making sure that it's all streamlined and all goes to the same purpose and the same goal, and then documenting all of that. The state came in and did a 2-day visit on top of a full desk review of all of our documentation. I interviewed the staff members, interviewed myself. So it was a long process, but so the 5 stars was very, very well worth it, and just a very great feeling.
And what does this say about your staff, the teachers, the pre-K program itself?
Well, what it says is that we are providing one of the highest quality experiences that you can get for preschool. It's individualized learning. We're tailoring the learning to specific children and getting goals for those specific children, meeting them at where they are and growing them from there so that they really are prepared learners ready for kindergarten.
It's funny that you said the growing, because that's really been the theme of today's discussion and topic about the start of their basic learning, and you're listening here to the Warrior Supercast on Waycross Community Media. I'm very fortunate to have the growing years here at the table. If we can start to kind of wrap up, unfortunately, to the bottom of our hour here, what is the one thing that you want to see once this is implemented? Obviously, we all like to look in the crystal ball and say, what are we going to learn and what are we going to find? What is the one thing we want to take away? We'll start from 4th and we'll work our way down. What would you like to see by the end of your first year with project-based learning, with that handoff going to the next level?
What I would like to see is that our students are stronger, independent learners, thinkers, and doers, that they're able to contribute their part and their piece to their curriculum, their instruction, and that they know that they have a voice, they know that they have a choice, they're empowered to collaborate with others, and they're able to actually speak and communicate with any and everyone that actually comes to the school. They're more so ambassadors as opposed to just students.
Giving new titles. I like that. K through 2.
What I want to see and what I expect from my staff and from my students is a new level of empowerment, that I am coming to school with a purpose and a mission to learn and to grow as an individual. And that's not just academic, but that's all socially. I think new tech brings a new light to what's possible. And so our theme already in my mind is that believing the impossible, and that's for the students and for the staff, because we'll have to walk this walk together, and parents are watching and the community is watching, and we won't let them down.
What I'd like to see is a turn toward the growth mindset for students and for adults, and the idea that we can learn anything if we apply ourselves and put in the effort and have the right attitude and persist, in the face of a challenge. And so I'm looking to see those attitudes and mindsets in our staff and students. A friend of mine that works in the business community, he mentioned the importance of knowing how to work on teams and the importance of being able to express yourself to groups of people and communicate orally. And I think that in any industry, no one would argue with that. Those are things and skills that everyone needs. So as we move towards the projects next year, I'm excited for our children to be engaged in real work and to have them coming to school with a greater purpose. And so I'm excited to see those possibilities for our kids and for our staff, because I think for our staff, they're going to be blown away by all the great things that the kids do.
Excellent. And down to the beginning.
Right.
Again.
I would love to see staff members and students who are learning to ask those deeper questions, to get really down into deeper learning and getting learning that is meaningful to them, and learning how to work together so that by the time they go to kindergarten, they are ready to hit the ground running.
I like giving the students that new look, that they're empowered, that they are able to do so. And I think that's what we're seeing now in the Winton Woods District. I think it's wonderful. Dr. Holden, we are here.
Yes, so
bottom.
I would like to invite the community to two different events. So one is a series of visioning meetings for our facilities, for our new facilities. So you did the hard part. You voted to support us, and now we ask for your input in our visioning meetings. And so there are three of them, February 15th, 21st, and March 2nd, and those are from 5:30 to 8. They're at I believe the High School Media Center, Winton Woods High School Media Center. And then on March 22nd, really related to this new tech work, is a Night of Freedom. So it's an event from 5:30 to 8 that is a reception, an art gallery, musical performances, and student academic project presentations. So you can actually, it's free, you just need a ticket, and so there's a way to do that online at wintonwoods.org /content/freedom. If you're confused, go to the website, and the information is there, and short of that, never hesitate to call us. So we would love to see you there.
It's absolutely the open district is what we are. And seeing the Freedom Center piece, actually seeing PBL at work and a hands-on experience is going to be a truly phenomenal thing and a great showcase for at least the 16-17 school year.
Yes, it is.
And it really gets us ready for that 17-18 year, which we were able to start to see the seeds planted today. I'm very fortunate to have all of you. Thank you for joining us and taking your time to discuss a wonderful year that's coming up next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome. And I want to thank all of you for joining us as well. This has been the Warrior Supercast, the podcast devoted to the Winton Woods School District and highlighting the superstars in the district. I'm Jason Grzgorek, your host, and very thankful to bring this information to you. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next month.